Let's get going. I, as the secretary or chair pro tem, I'll call this meeting to order. And is anybody taking minutes? Is anybody volunteering, or do you want me to write down a few things? To take a few minutes. I'll write down a few things. Keep track of it. All right, I call it to order, and we have for attendance, I have Jerry Stringham, Bonnie Ham, we have Judith McGann, Deb O'Connor, Joe Bossy, Robert McAfee, Mike Donahue. That's what we've got so far, and we do have a quorum of the committee. Does anybody want to make a motion to nominate Jerry Stringham to join us as a committee member?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Joe Bossy makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Bonnie.
Okay, Mike seconds it. All right, are there any other nominations tonight? All in favor? We'll do a roll call. Robert?
Yes.
Yes, okay, Mike?
Yes.
All right, I say yes. And Joe?
Yes.
Okay, well, Jerry, you're all official. Welcome aboard. You have to go to the superintendent's office to get sworn in, whenever you can.
Mhm.
Did you get the book? Was you able to get there to get the book? Oh, Jonathan has joined us. Hi there. John got on.
He looks a lot like Tammy, though.
Yeah, he looks like Tammy.
Anyway, yes, I did go by the form sitting there for me to sign.
Okay,
When it's makes sense, like now.
like now. And did you get a book?
I do have a book.
You got the book. Okay, good. And we should, another piece of business that we should do is we should choose our officers, and choose a chair, choose a secretary. I was the only ranking officer left from the last time. I was a secretary. And so I just have been doing it in the meantime, but we do need to appoint a chair and a secretary. So does anybody have any ideas?
I just want to let you guys know right now that John Hamm is not here yet. I've logged him on, but I have to leave. He'll be
Okay,
here shortly.
okay, all right. And he knows how to unmute it.
Yep, I told him how to do that.
Okay, oh, good. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, does anybody want to be chair? Does anybody want to be secretary? Anybody have a nomination?
I'll nominate Tucker because he's been a private school administrator for years. So he's probably closer to this process than pretty much any of us. Unfortunately, he's not here to accept a nomination, is he?
All right, are there any, is there a second to that nomination?
What was that nomination for, Rob? For chair or secretary?
For chair.
Yeah. I don't care. I'll second it if he's interested in doing it.
Do you know if he is, Robert?
I spoke to him briefly and mentioned the possibility, and he said he'd be happy to.
Okay. All right. So are you going to second it, Mike?
I will if he's interested. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. And that was Robert McAfee made the motion. Mike, any other nominations?
Well, Bonnie, you're the only one with any experience with the committee. I know you have a ton of other things going on as well, so I don't know if you're interested.
Well, I could do either way. I think, what this was all about was we struggled along with John, Mike, and Bonnie for quite a while now. So I'm not offended, or I'm not, bummed if someone else wants to be chair. I am busy. And, you know, that's fine with me. We, for the first time, we have a committee. Boy, we have, you know, we have a full complement of members, and we have a lot of talent. So thank you, Jerry, for the thought, but I'm okay with someone else being chair.
Yeah, quite frankly, Bonnie, I think we're so heavily dependent on you with the planning board and then all your activities with the state that I thought we should probably, appreciate some relief there.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine with it. So, any other nominations? Hi, John. John's it on. Hi there. We are choosing our chair. We have, John, we have a motion and a second for Tucker to be our chair. Jerry wondered whether I wanted to be chair. We do not have a second for that idea, but the consensus is if Tucker wants to be chair, that would be nice. Do you have any thoughts?
I think Bonnie's vote was that since I put that suggestion forward, that maybe she wanted to change her vote on whether I should be on the committee or not.
No, absolutely not.
I know.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
Is Tucker here? Is he online?
He's not online.
Oh, there you go. Definitely needs to be the chair. then.
That's how you get to be chair. You know?
That's how we do it over in Lincoln.
That's how you get to be the chair. So are we all content that we have our candidate, and are we ready to vote? Let's see, Mike.
Yes.
Okay. And Robert.
Yes.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Jerry.
Yes.
Okay. Joe.
Yes, I just lost you guys. I can't see you at all, but hopefully you can hear me.
We can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can. And John.
Yes.
Oh,
that's
okay.
great.
Okay, so we have elected Tucker our chair. What about secretary? Who wants to be secretary? And that job can be about as time consuming as the chair sometimes. So
Usually it's the last guy that came to the board, isn't it, Bonnie?
oh, so that means Jerry is going to be. Oh yes, that is our tradition. I didn't tell you about that, Jerry. We didn't tell you that was the tradition.
But I thought that made me be in charge of refreshments. I didn't realize.
You know, Jerry, I gotta say this, you sent out the email and you obviously spent some time reviewing everything. And I was very not gonna say impressed, but I thought that was really good what you did and the stuff that you'd sent out earlier. And you have some obvious knowledge that I think that, you and Tucker working together could actually accomplish some really good things with this. So I will support that if you're willing to do that role.
Sure, I'll sign up.
Okay.
Should the board in its true lack of wisdom go that direction?
No, that's a very wise decision. Yes. Any other nominations? So we have the motion was made by Robert for the secretary. Who made the motion for the secretary as Jerry? Robert?
Yeah, I think Robert did.
That's
Okay.
fine, yep.
Now, second on that motion?
I'll second it.
All right. Do we have any other nominations? All right, let's take the vote. Mike,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
let's see, John,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, congratulations, Jerry. You're the secretary.
I didn't get to vote.
Oh, well, can he vote? Oh, yes, he can vote. Jerry.
I'll vote yes.
Jerry, yes. Great.
Okay.
Congratulations, guys.
Okay.
Congratulations. And um, another thing that I think we should do tonight, and I'll keep going because Tucker isn't here. Another thing we should do tonight is decide the frequency and what night and so forth that we want to meet, like set up a schedule for the entire time from now. We have to be ready about a week before February 10th because that's the budget hearing, and they need time to get it all ready. So we probably need to be done by about February 3rd or something like that. So we've got after Christmas an intense month to work on it. Any ideas of how often? Once a week, twice a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? What kind of night? What kind of time?
I think once a week is gonna be adequate, Bonnie, to start.
Okay.
We've been down
Okay.
this road before and multiple times a week, you just don't get the attendance. Everybody
Right.
has other things going on. I think once a week after this meeting, after the
Yep.
holiday, we'll post one.
Yeah.
And then as it comes closer to the 3rd of February, we need to put in a little more time. We put in a little more time.
Yeah.
Now, are these meetings subject to 91A, and do we have to, have public notice that we have them, or we?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
So, and we need 24 hours notice? Is that?
Yes.
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 And then where do they have to be posted through? So people actually have, through the school system website?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
considered adequate public disclosure?
Yes. Look at, he knows all about it. He's got it. He's got it all down pat. Yeah. Generally, I think we contact the superintendent's office and they get it on the website there. And isn't that what we usually do?
Yes,
We call the office and they put it
Yes.
on the
Yeah,
website.
we have certain posting locations in town, in the school, on the website, so.
Can we use the same Zoom ID, or do we have to set up a different Zoom address for each meeting? Or do we?
I'm not sure about that, but we can have the Zoom meeting set up. I'm not sure if it's, I mean, each meeting, we'd set up a meeting for that using the school account.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
And if somebody comes in and photobombs them, it's kicking them out? Is that Judy, or?
Yeah,
I've never been in one of those. It's pretty disgusting.
well,
No,
we're controlling it, right? I mean, they gave us the host controls tonight, but if we're not here, we'll have to
Is
give
this-
that to you guys.
Do you normally participate in budget committee meetings, or is this?
We try to, it just makes the process easier if there's questions and we're here.
Mhm. Okay.
But some meetings we may not be able to make.
any other questions, Jerry, or anybody? All right, we'll meet what day of the week? What's going to be our first meeting? When are we going to meet again? Does Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Tuesdays look open to me through January. We're really looking at, the 5th through, through February 2nd. So that's 5 Tuesdays that we have to get our work done.
Yeah.
Hopefully aren't too many conflicts for people.
How does that, John, is Tuesday good?
Sorry, yes, that's fine.
And Mike and Robert and Joe, Tuesdays sound good?
what night do we get a
Not all
plan
of them,
board?
but most of them.
Okay. What'd you say, Mike?
Do we have any planning boards in January on Tuesday?
We have planning board the second Monday.
Second Monday, okay.
Monday, we never do Tuesdays, so it
Alright.
doesn't conflict with that. No. Joe, can you make Tuesdays?
Yeah, the best I can, but like I said before, you guys, now that you have enough people,
Right.
it won't really make that much of a difference, but I will try to be there, all of them, like I usually am.
All right. Okay, so
Do we
the,
have to have a school board rep at each meeting?
Yes.
Well, technically, yes, but we went a whole season without one before.
we did. We did.
Who is the alternate then if Joe's not available?
Jay, I
Deb
believe.
or
Jay.
Judy?
It's Jay.
Okay, and he'll be aware that he has to be there.
Yeah, we'll give him the dates. It's good that you guys setting that up so then they can plan between Joe and Jay.
All right, so tentatively, unless there's some sort of a problem, we'll choose Tuesdays through January. And what time do you want to get started?
John, is 6:30 okay? You want to start earlier or later? Or anybody else?
I can go earlier, Bonnie.
Yeah, I can too. Not no earlier than 6. 6 would be the earliest. Earlier than that's hard, but what
Let's just
about,
make- 6 is good. That's okay with me.
okay, 6. What about Robert? Is 6 good for you, Robert?
It's as good as it's gonna get, because my schedule's pretty ever changing, so I'll just say sure.
All right. What about Tucker? Do you know what his schedule looks like?
I can't speak for him on that one.
Right. Well, 6:30 is easier for me, but I can do 6. I'll just do it. And I think, we're going to have fairly lengthy meetings, I would assume, since we only have 5 of them. So do we want to do 6 p.m.? We'll try 6 p.m. on Tuesdays, starting on January
30 works better for me, but if it has to be 6, I'll make it.
6:30. So John, you can make 6:30 easier.
It's
Yeah,
okay
but
with
we could make it at 7. You wouldn't make it, John. So
I'm waiting for the phone to ring now.
All right, so we're gonna try 6. Okay, Tuesdays, and the first Tuesday is what? What is the first one?
The meetings then will be on the 5th, 12th, 19th, 26th, perhaps with us, hopefully finalizing the budget on Groundhog Day, February 2nd. So hopefully we won't have to keep doing that over and over again. And then with the budget hearing on the 10th.
Right,
And,
good.
perhaps we can have a holdover to February 3rd if we haven't gotten our job done on the 2nd.
Is a week really what you guys need, Debbie and Judy? Do you need a week? Do you need us to be done about a week ahead of time? Is that about
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And you guys just have to be ready to present. So
Right. Okay, but to get the budget, all the numbers put in, if we meet on the 2nd and make a change, you've got a week to make those changes, get them posted, do whatever you gotta do, wherever you gotta.
yeah, we'll have the meeting posted. That's the biggest thing. So
Yeah, all right.
at that point.
All right, and the only other thing I was thinking, and oh, by the way, Deb and Judy had some recap information they wanted to give us. So let's do that, and then we need to decide what we need to do our job, what information we need, how we want to go about it, how we want to go about putting our budget together. So Deb, Judy, do you want to tell us what you wanted to tell us?
Yeah, I mean, we just basically wanted to, well, since there are a few new members, just go through the process that we've used in the past and just recap where we're at so far with the budget. So typically the budget is prepared, the administration gets all the input from the teachers and the staff, they prepare the budget, and then in December, the school board starts meeting. So we had a couple of school board work sessions in December, and we went through the whole budget. Now, the binder that we give to everyone has a lot of information in it, a lot of details. So we put that all together and we review. And then once the school board comes to a consensus or whatever on the budget, they pass it off to the budget committee to come up with their number. So the school board at the last work session said they're ready to go with the budget that's been presented. They'll vote actually at their first regular board meeting in January on that budget, because they can't vote during the work session because it's just a work session. But what we wanted to do tonight, because some of you missed some of the work sessions, and if it's okay with you, that we just recap the budget as it stands, if you want us to. We won't go into any details, but you can ask any questions on any of the details if you think that will be helpful.
I don't think going over numbers that we have no details for are going to be helpful.
Oh, there's plenty of detail. There's plenty of detail in the binder, which we've already gone through with the budget, with the school board.
I'm going to have a lot more questions on details than in that binder. So.
All right,
But that's
what's
just my
the,
opinion, you know. Everybody else, please speak up.
what's the census of the group? Do we want the recap, or are we ready to get going with our work, or what do you want to do?
How much time do you need, Debbie, to do that?
I was just going to go over the major changes in the budget. 5 or 10 minutes, not that long. I'll keep it really brief. Again, there's a binder full of details, but I wasn't going to get into those unless you want to go through each line by line detail of the budget like we did with the school board.
I don't think we need that, because we were there we were there the first workshop. We were there and heard, went right down through all the different pages. So we certainly don't want that great detail. So yeah, give us a 5-10 minute recap of anything you want to point out to us that's important for us to know.
Okay. I'm just looking at the summary page in the budget binder. As we presented the budget, so we're comparing the current year's budget to next year's budget. And the budget for next year is a 1.2%, and we're looking at the general fund, the operating budget. And it's a 1.2% decrease for last year's budget, or about $100,000. And we break it down by usually salaries and benefits, which is approximately 78% of our budget. And then the remainder of all of the operating lines in the budget: supplies, books, repairs, facilities, things like that. So when you look at our salaries and benefits, we budget based on current staffing needs. We look at the needs, what we think we're going to need for next year. And right now we've kept our staffing as it is for next year's budget. So we put in the people, the benefits that the people have. We put in so the biggest increase we're seeing in our benefits based on our current staffing is New Hampshire retirement rates. The New Hampshire retirement rates go up every 2 years. And that's based on the state budget. And New Hampshire retirement is funded by the employers in the state and also the employees. So the employees pay 7%, and the employer rate changes every 2 years. So we will see a significant increase in the employer rate, and our employer rate is based on a teachers group rate and all the other employees rate. So that was about $110,000 increase, just looking at our current staffing and multiplying that rate by the current wages. The other big piece of our budget, health insurance, that's going up 4%, which is actually a small increase, which is nice. We've seen double-digit health insurance increases in the past. So that's about $49,000. So again, of that $100,000 decrease, $130,000 is salary and benefits increases, mainly the retirement and mainly the health insurance. What is not in the budget, which will be a separate warrant article, is the teacher's contract for next year. So what we have in the budget is the current teacher's salaries. What we don't have in the budget, and it will be a separate warrant article, is the teacher's raises for next year. Because That's the way, anytime there's a new contract, it is presented as a separate warrant article for the voters to vote on that separately. And we can give you details on that when we get to that. So then the rest of the budget, the regular operating budget, we saw a $230,000 increase in all of those lines. That's all the detail we went through on that first night of all those lines: supplies, facilities, special ed, just all of the other lines that aren't salary and benefits. So when you look at all of that, that's the biggest reason. And the biggest reason for that $230,000 increase, we had a couple of one-time expenses in the current year's budget. One was elementary piping project, $80,000 that we do not have in next year's budget. We're going to be using it this year in the current year's budget. And then we also put in a new phone system. So that's also was in last year's budget, will not be in next year's budget. Those were one-time expenses. So those are the biggest decrease, although we did have other lines decrease also. So that's the budget in a nutshell, the operating budget. When you look at our total budget, we also have special revenue funds like grants, but those are offset. They have offsetting revenues, but we have to gross appropriate everything. So we do show our grant funds, again, offset by revenue. So there's really no tax rate effect. And we also show our food service also offset by revenues, but we have to gross appropriate those expenses because they're all part of our budget. And I think that's it for now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm sure we'll have questions along. Jerry?
I have a few kind of high level questions. How many students did we have? I mean, I guess we break down students by elementary, middle, and high school.
Yeah.
And maybe some special categories, like we have to send some special ed kid off to the end. I know that can be a nightmare for a town budget, or so is my understanding. And I do understand that the student load actually has been decreasing over the last 10 or 15 years. What's the difference in the last couple of years? And is all-day kindergarten, is that considered elementary school, or how do you account for that?
Yeah, that's elementary.
Okay, so that's all bundled in, because I know the state now is providing, the regular stipend, including all-day kindergarten.
Yeah, for any that don't have that, yeah.
So what's the student load at each of those three levels, and have they changed
Yeah,
at all
so
in the last few years?
In the binder, we do give you some enrollment data really on the current. So at the end of last year, we had about 273 kids. We're currently at 288 kids.
Mhm.
So we actually have seen an increase this year, probably due to COVID and people in town.
Mhm.
We can get you more history, but you're right, Jerry, it has been decreasing little by little for like the last 15 years.
So is it normal for the budget committee to ask questions like that and then for you to bring them back up?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, because we do look at our cost per
Yes.
pupil. When you look, and we do have
Yes.
a report on our cost per pupil. We have one of the highest cost per pupils in the
And-
state. I mean, Waterville Valley is the same thing. We have not that many kids, and we have, some fixed expenses that you have no matter how big or small your school is. So, and we have small class sizes, and so that drives up our cost.
I know last time you presented this as a zero-based budget. 80% of the budget is teachers.
Yeah.
And, if we have the same number of kids, I just looked at elementary school and the state average. If we have the same number of teachers per student, we would have 6 elementary school teachers, and we have 9. So I'm just wondering if and it was kind of just thrown out there that we're not changing staffing at all. And whether that's the right way to go. I mean, the state is taking a hard look right now at more or less taking over school funding with what's been going on in this commission that I listened to at 6 of the meetings. So, and, if we're going to have a higher than state average level, I'd sure like to be able to talk to it. So
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the middle school and the high school numbers, and I don't know where we are on that, and even whether I'm reading everything correctly or not.
Yeah, and we can go over that. I mean, we are higher as a district, and our class sizes are typically smaller than the state average. And that's how this community has run for a while.
My question is, if we have a much, better ratio in teachers to students, is how are the students doing as compared to the rest of the state? I mean, maybe that's a justification for that many teachers.
Yeah, we have all that data.
Yeah.
We can give you that data.
And that was one of the things I was hoping we could accomplish tonight, which gives us a head start when we get going after the holiday, that if we could kind of figure out the information we're going to need to do our job, what kind of information, the administration can be starting to gather it. I really didn't want to see us wait until January to decide what we might need, but anything we can think of that we know we're going to need and we can relay that thought to the administration, we're going to be ahead of the game because we don't have many nights. So if anybody has
another important thing to take a look at is we're looking at budget numbers, last year's budget numbers, as opposed to what people are wanting for this year. We're not looking at actual expenditures, and it'd be interesting to see what actual expenditures are against last year's budget with all the changes that have occurred.
Yeah, well, we give you the actual expenditures are actually in the budget binder, so you can see.
Up to what date?
I mean, for the current year's budget?
Yeah.
Oh, we've given that to the school board. We can certainly run some reports to give you that.
Great.
I mean, this year's budget is a lot different than, I mean, the current year's, what's actually happening this year is a lot different than what we put in place for the budget, as you well know.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm sure there are different funds that have come
Yeah.
from different organizations that were not expected. And, there's got to be a lot of changes. And a lot of that has to be anticipated for next year as well. So.
Yeah, and we're also we have some grants that we have received this year. We don't know what for COVID, the CARES
Right.
Act money, but yeah, we can get you the budget to actual to date.
Good. Anything else anybody thinks of we want to ask for at this
Good.
step in the process?
Yeah, I was wondering if we could get a schedule for the high school for first semester and second semester for the student ratio to class that we usually get, Debbie.
Yeah, we can get that for you.
Anything else anyone on the committee wants?
I would like to see a stipend list as usual, and a complete one, not a partial one. And also like to see the job description of the guidance counselors for both buildings.
Okay, anybody else have any specific requests at this time?
So we'll get,
And also, are there state regulations that we should know about for exact positions that are required by the state versus nice to have?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar whether there are or not certain regulations that the state requires certain positions to be filled. So I wonder if we can get that information on what positions are required versus nice to have. For example, you used to have a security officer in the school. I understand you don't anymore.
Right.
There are state standards. I'm sure there's state standards of things you absolutely have to have.
Right.
well,
Yeah, the state standards for school approval.
Yes.
I mean, they passed a bill this last term requiring women's rooms, I guess maybe high school level, to include sanitary napkins. I mean, and
Right, so I'm talking
funding for it, you just had to pay for it.
Right.
So,
yeah, but I'm talking about staffing positions.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
Required versus optional.
And my understanding is school districts need certain positions in them as well, and I don't know what those are.
Right.
Yeah, and it's based on really the classes, the school, the minimum standards. And Judy can go into that more, but
Yeah.
And, I mean, this probably isn't anything that we can accomplish in 5 weeks, but I know on my list has always been that we're getting real close to the time that we need to look at all of our options, whether we should be continuing to run such a small school or whether we should be doing something different, whether we should be running our own SAU for such a small population of children, or whether we should be looking around, or whether I noticed Manchester is closing a bunch of buildings. I'm not saying that
Mhm.
that all of our kids would fit into one of our buildings, but there's a lot of things along those lines I do want to look at, bringing the SAU back, efficiencies in that manner, and in maintaining maybe less space because we have less children. It's got to be a cost saver to heat less space, et cetera, et cetera. And, and I know certain populations, you don't necessarily want the kindergartners hanging out with the high school kids, but there's certain things like that. But I really think we're at the point where we need to look. Is it the most efficient thing to do to be a single school SAU? Should we join forces with some of the other schools around? And I know they're all 25 miles away, 20 miles away. And so there's none right next by. I at some point, and that may be some committees we form as a budget committee to work on throughout the year. We've talked a few times in the past that maybe we want to get together and look at the actual expenditures quarterly or whatever. Well, how are we doing? We're 3 months into it. How's the budget looking? They're all ideas that we've had, but we've never had a big enough group to be breaking down into study committees and working on some of these others. We've had all we could do to get together a budget. So I just want to throw that out as a thought. At what point do we look at, should we be doing things differently than just keep going the same program when we've got half as many kids as we used to have?
I think it's a decent idea. Obviously, I don't know how we're not going to make progress on it by February 3rd.
No.
I just have issues from having seen so much. The state is more or less determined that our system for funding education in the state is unconstitutional, and Lincoln, Woodstock, and Waterville, both school systems that are from have towns with enormous amount of property value per student. So
right,
we're on the one end of the scale, and I hope this process can help prepare us for the stormy winds that may be likely coming in the next 2 to 4 years. So, and doing creative things like you're talking about might be helpful. So.
All right, we can keep that in mind as we move along. I mean, I know we probably don't have time in the 5 weeks, but I think the time has come that we have to look at these things, because it doesn't seem like this is a blip on the radar, and enrollment's going to suddenly skyrocket again. I think this is probably the new norm. Smaller class size, and I think we do need to look at somebody. I think it was Robert said that the statistics show there should be 6 elementary school teachers, not 9. Well, maybe it's a luxury to have a classroom with 6 children in it, and that's another thing. I would like to see that. I would like to see all of the classes and the enrollment in all the different classes. And we may not be able to maintain 6 grades. Maybe we only have 1. I don't know, but if we can get those kinds of numbers to see how many kids are in and on the high school, I'm sure we're going to see numbers like we've got 2 kids, 6 kids, 4 kids taking some of the academic classes, some of the different curriculum we have. But I think we've come to that day when we have to maybe accept 18 or 20 in the classroom and come to the conclusion that a classroom with 6 or 8 is a wonderful thing, but may not be attainable or realistic.
It's only a wonderful thing if the kids are getting a benefit from it.
Yeah, yes. Yes. I mean, it used to be 28, 30 kids would be a class. And I know we don't want to go back that far, but.
Well, you can have a class with 6 kids in it that the teacher's not doing anything either.
Uh-huh.
So it's got to be scrutinized. We're talking taxpayers' money, and we have a responsibility to the taxpayer as well as the student.
All right. Anything else that we can think of that we would like to request the administration get to us? Hopefully, by our first meeting or early on. Can you think of anything else at this moment?
I mean, is it hard to break down the number of teachers by either grade or by, because you have specialty teachers and ed and art and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah, we can break
Right, we can break that down.
Yeah.
We have that.
They have in the past broken it down, and we may find we have one teacher that sees 6 kids all day, and that's it. I mean, that's not, that's a wonderful thing, but maybe it isn't realistic in these times. I don't know, but yes, Jerry, they have given us those kinds of statistics.
All right.
Anything else? Any other comments or thoughts or anything we want to ask for at this time?
I don't know if you guys have been issued all the updated warrant article stuff yet. I'm not sure what you have.
No, the board has to go through those warrant articles and they will be doing that at their next board
There's
meeting.
Tucker.
That won't be, that won't be for tonight because the board has to develop those warrant articles prior to giving them to the budget committee.
And can somebody come to us? Let's just say, I think we're going to have one on flooring. I think we're going to have one on roof. I think we're going to have one on heating system, boiler. And can we have somebody come really talk to us about those projects so we really can ask questions about it? And did it go out to bid? How many bids went out? How did the bids come in? What's being proposed? And so forth. Are we going to be able to have those experts come talk to us about those warrant articles?
Yeah, and that's typically why you have your board rep come, because they can go over that with you.
But I'm thinking we're going to need a few experts on a few topics.
I see.
Thanks, Deb.
Oh,
Hi. Hey,
Sorry.
Tucker, you were made chair.
Yeah, I know. The one person's not there gets it. I understand.
That's right. What we're doing right now is trying to think of things we're going to need when we get started and we chose, I hope this is okay, but we chose Tuesdays at 6 o'clock every Tuesday in January. Is that a Tuesday good for you?
That's fine.
Okay. So what we're doing right now, and Jerry is your secretary. He got
Excellent.
elected secretary. And what we're doing right now is trying to figure out what we might want to ask administration for documentation or any kind of backup or anything we're going to need.
Sounds great.
All right. So anybody have any anything else that they want to ask or question or ask to have for the next meeting, or any questions of the administration at this point?
Judith, this is Mike. Going forward, does the school board plan on trying to use Zoom meetings so that the community can to participate and maybe be helpful for these warrant articles if the budget committee could weigh in on them, or at least listen and get educated?
Definitely, yeah. The board had spoken about that and discussed it at the last board meeting. And they want to move forward and use that process. Like
Okay,
we're
thank
using
you.
this evening. So it would be helpful.
Thank you, Judith.
Yep, and if you can let us know, I mean, if you've got a guest showing up to talk about technology or the furnace or the whatever, that might be critical information that we should know, maybe you folks could tell us, and an approximate time when it's going to be on the agenda, you know, an approximate time, so that we might not have to sit through absolutely everything if it isn't pertinent to the job that we're doing right now. We certainly would love to hear it, hear that expert testimony on whatever.
And we do record them all too, Bonnie, so.
Yeah, well, yes, we could always listen, I guess. By recording it. Anybody else have something specific?
Are these meetings recorded too, Deb?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Another thing I'd like to know is get the details on any funds transferred from one particular usage to another due to the corona. For example, you know, things like you've got like a $30,000 budget for moving athletic teams around for various games. Obviously, that's not getting used. Is that still sitting there, or has that money been transferred into another fund? So any that may have been moved, it would be good to know where it was moved, started at, and where it was moved to, and the rationale behind it, and then what funds are literally being looked at not being used now. And that would just be one of those types of things that is, the question is it still sitting there? What is happening with it?
Yeah, and last year, Robert, at the end of last year, we had a lot of funds left over, and the process is when we have funds left over, because our year was cut short and we didn't have spring sports, we didn't have field trips, we didn't have a lot of expenses, that money all goes back to the two towns through the tax rate setting process. We cannot hold on to that. We can hold on to 2.5% of any unassigned fund balance, but the rest of it has to go back to the two towns. So we did have quite a bit last year that we did not spend in our budget due to ending the year early.
Yeah, I guess we should go back as different people in different towns. We should ask the town, what did they do with it?
I think they use it to lower the taxes.
You got lower taxes?
To lower the taxes in each town.
Or to decrease the increase.
Or decrease the increase, right? Not necessarily.
Yeah, I've never seen the lower
It offsets
taxes.
it, yeah, right.
You got me excited there for a minute.
Yeah. Actually, I think Woodstocks went down.
Yeah, it should be pretty good this year.
Yeah.
Now, Woodstocks, they did a reevaluation, is all they did.
Oh, is that why it went down?
Some
Okay.
people went down. some
Okay.
people
Yeah.
didn't.
Okay. Tucker, do you want to take over now, or?
No, since I'm coming in so late, but what has already been asked? Just, is there a quick?
For us to get for information?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. We wondered about the class sizes, and Jerry mentioned the state averages. Well, was it Jerry? Would be 6 elementary teachers, not 9. To look at the staffing, to look at the ratio of students to teachers. Let's see. What else do we ask for?
was the stuff asked about all the boiler talk and all that from the other night?
The warrant articles that are not ready to bring forward to us, but I made the comment that we certainly would want to hear anything that's in the warrant article. We would want to hear all about the project, all about the boiler and all about the roof and all about the floor. And that we would like an expert to come talk to us about it. And or it was suggested we could be alerted when the school board's going to talk about it and listen in there. And it was pointed out that's part of why we have a school board rep, that they can bring us information like that. But
Okay.
I think the consensus was we would like the opportunity to hear from the expert, the engineer, the engineer, whoever is proposing this. We would like to be able to ask them questions. We have some talent on our board along those lines. Mike has a lot of experience with those kinds of things and was on the facilities committee. So we all might have, we want to hear.
There were like 3 projects, right? There was the flooring.
Yes.
There was, and I'm just, I don't know where it is in the budget right this second. I didn't go flying through it. But those were all warrant articles, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so, and then the teacher's salaries is what we have exact? Or is that, because I remember the first meeting I went to, that it was just kind of holding place while things were still in negotiations. So is this budget complete now that we have, or is the teacher salary still need to be updated in the budget I'm holding?
What's in the budget is the current salaries. What the teacher negotiations, how that works, Tucker, is we have to have a separate warrant article anytime they have a new agreement.
Okay.
So the salary increase really will be in a separate warrant article. And once that's approved or whatever, or voted on by the voters, it becomes part of our budget. But
okay, so that's another one
separately.
Okay,
Yep.
I was just making sure where I didn't know if that had been gone through yet or not. Okay.
And we wanted to know the actual expenditures. We want it up to date, not just actual as of the end of last year or something. We were hoping to get current numbers. We felt we needed current numbers, actual, like as of today, actual, to look at those compared to the budget. And the schedules of the classes, the high school schedule, the elementary, all of the schedules, and how many kids are in each class. John wanted a complete stipend list, all the folks that get any kind of a stipend. And it was, we asked for the job description for the guidance department. We asked for copies of the state regulations as to what is required for school to be approved or certified or whatever. Because we want to compare, what do we have to have versus what it would be nice to have. Let's see.
Oh, don't forget the rankings of the school.
The school rankings, yes.
Is there anything, and do we feel there's a need for the rankings and the SAT, ACT, and all those type of averages of the school and the numbers as a group?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yes.
that's kind of important. Have we lost students, gained students? Like, I know I went online and found some information a week ago. Do we have like the last 10 years of all that information?
Yes.
Yep.
We asked about that.
Yes, we asked about that. And
Okay.
I made the comment, we have half as many kids as we used to. And I made the comment that maybe we've got the same size building and the same size overhead and all this business, and we've got half as many kids as we used to have. Maybe we don't. Manchester is getting rid of about 4 buildings. I'm not saying we can, but I mentioned we need to look at, I feel strongly we need to look at the SAU, us continuing to be independent or joining with someone else. We need to look at bringing the SAU maybe back on campus if we have all this extra space over here. We need to look at whether we can afford to or need to run 2 whole buildings. I know you have problems with kindergartners and high school kids, maybe, you know, hard to break the building down into different age groups, but maybe we only need 1 building. I mean, there may be a ton of economies of scale here. We may have to join forces with another school someplace else. I mean, we are very small, and we may not be able to have class sizes of 6 kids. We may only need 1 6th grade teacher, 1 4th grade teacher. Back in the day, there'd be 30 kids in the school. I'm not saying that's good, but maybe 18, 20 or 22 or something. Maybe we can't afford the luxury of having 2 4th graders with 12 or 10 in each grade. You know, I raised a lot of those things that we really need to look at how we're doing business, the infrastructure, and the time has come. And on all the predictions say, you know, this isn't just a blimp on the radar, and the population is going to grow again. I know we thought that maybe 3, 5 years ago, that we didn't want to make drastic changes because this might just be a fluke. But I don't think so. And it's maintained at this lower level for a while. We may have to face reality and acknowledge that this is going to be the new size school that we have, of about 200 kids, not 400 kids. So in the warrant articles, and we needed information on them. What else? We wanted the funds, and any funds transferred due to COVID. You know, what happened? Was there excess money, and what happened to it? And the comment was made that becomes funds to give back to the towns. But we, you know, there were no field trips, spring sports. Were there savings there? And asked different towns maybe what their structure, what their school system looks like. Anybody have anything else that we mentioned?
Well, I think, you know, I came in on some of that, so that sounds like you guys have gone through it all. That's good.
Can you think of anything else, Tucker, that we
Yeah,
we know we need? We know we need. We're gonna know we need.
No, it sounds like you guys already asked for all the averages and everything, so I think we're in, you know, pretty good place to start.
Yep.
You know, I think there'll be more questions as we go, obviously.
All right. Anybody have anything else they want to say for the good of the order?
I would appreciate, maybe I can put in the minutes everybody's phone number that's on the committee. Or do we have them already?
All right.
I do. But
Do you want? Does everybody give Jerry their phone number, or do you want to do that so he has it and email or get it to him, or?
yeah.
Well, this all becomes a matter of public record, and you're asking for personal phone numbers, so maybe.
All right.
Via email.
All right.
Yeah, I won't put it in the minutes then.
Okay. And he won't ask for the whole world to hear it. So everybody, please get to Jerry. And I think you've got quite an email. We've had quite an email list of going on. Everybody's email has been in those email trail. So Jerry, you want everybody to send you their phone number and email address or whatever?
Yep.
Anything else? Anything, administration you want to add?
No, we'll gather the information and the data that you're requesting and send it out the same way we usually do.
Okay,
Okay.
anything else?
I guess I just have, is there anything else that we need to break out in the high school level or anything that we should be smart enough to ask out?
Well, what we will do is we will break out the courses that are offered, the courses that are required, and the number of students in each class
Hmm.
at this moment. As far as that goes.
Okay.
Are there a lot of students traveling to other schools? Or like, I know there's a stuff that goes north, I forget what for.
Right, we have high school students going to the CTE program in
Yeah.
Littleton, in Whitefield. We also have students on a typical year travel to the charter school. That's also offered. However, right now you just have one traveling to the charter school,
Yeah.
the CTE program.
And is that because we don't offer that? Is that, and this is a cheaper route, is to send it somewhere else?
No, it's because there hasn't been an interest in this particular year. I mean, it could happen in January.
No, but I'm saying in past years, is it because it's cheaper to send them on a bus than it is to have it at the programs at the school?
Oh yeah, we wouldn't be able to handle those programs at the school.
Okay.
But some go to the charter school. It's a student or family preference, right?
A preference usually. I've always thought it was a preference that the parents want their child to go to a charter school more than any other reason. It seems to me, from my observation.
Is the
But the
charter
charter-
school a CTE school or not?
No.
No, they're two separate
It's
schools.
two separate things. That's what I thought.
And
Right.
how, yeah.
And it's based on the student's needs
Mhm.
and how the student could perform better.
As
And-
I say, I would assume that the charter school is something because we don't provide the child's needs, correct?
It's an
Correct.
alternative place.
For us to fund it.
It's an yeah, it's an alternative way of.
I think Tucker, from my understanding, is sometimes it's, kids are having trouble with each other in school, and sometimes they need a different environment. It might not just be what courses are being offered.
Right.
That's what this charter
The
school is really
environment is.
Right.
for. Yeah.
So,
Okay, and again, sometimes it's IEP needs and stuff like that. Learning disabilities. I understand all that. I'm just making sure that's what it is. That the special needs of some child.
It doesn't necessarily mean
Doesn't have
an
to be that.
IEP or special needs of a child. Can a child who has a learning disability go there? Yes, that can, but typical students also can go there as well. It's not a special ed program per se.
I guess what I'm getting at is we don't offer something that they have. That's why we fund it.
Right.
Correct.
That's what I was, yeah.
Okay.
So do we have much homeschooling going on?
We have a little bit of homeschooling going on right now. The numbers are a little bit different because a lot of students are working, families are working remotely, and they're still connected to the school. And there are some that are strictly homeschooled that have nothing to do with the school. I can get those numbers for you as well.
Yeah, that would be nice to know how many are opting for homeschooling, how many are opting for charter schools and other alternative
Right.
schools, because we've got such a small school population. If 50 are going elsewhere, and we're having to pay for it, that becomes
the school pays families directly for
yes,
homeschooling to offset
yes.
Yeah.
costs. And I assume we don't have to pay anything.
We don't pay anything for
We don't
home.
pay anything.
No, they
Right.
don't-
The state does, but we don't.
State does.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, the state funds the homeschooler through you guys, right? Or no? Do you guys get money from homeschooling students?
Not for
Comes directly from the
homeschoolers.
state, comes
Right.
directly from the state to the family.
And the homeschool numbers that we have may not necessarily be accurate because no one is required to go through the SAU to determine if they're going to be homeschooled or to let the SAU know. They don't have to go through the SAU. They can go through the Department of Ed.
Right.
So the numbers we have are the numbers we have. That may not be as accurate, but those are what we have.
And
Is
so
it
you have,
through the
If they're
homeschool?
homeschooled, you don't get funding from the state as part of your adequacy formula.
Correct, we do not.
So instead,
But
you send money to
local
families.
homeschool students do have access to different services at the school, correct?
They do.
They
Yeah.
do.
now, we're doing a lot of our special ed in-house now, right? Do we
Correct.
still have some that go other places?
If they need to.
If they need to, I mean, it differs.
All right, any other
I
questions?
just want to go real quick back to the home. So there is no advantage to registering the homeschoolers through the SAU for the
Mm.
school?
Well, we get about $4,000 roughly for each student.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we do get money from the state for each student who's registered in the SAU. And if they're homeschooled, they're not included. So we get $1,000 or $3,800 less from the state.
Right.
So,
If they're not registered through the SAU as a homeschooler.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. So we should be trying to get those homeschoolers to register.
well,
Right, we don't know who they are, but they have a choice. They can do it or they don't have to do it. You know what I mean? They can register state. We do not get any money from the state for homeschoolers,
right.
We don't.
And we
whether
do,
they're through the SAU or whether they're not through the SAU.
Okay, I was under the impression there was a minimal amount because they could use your services. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Any other questions we want to ask before we?
Recap that, Judith. If they're homeschooled but not through the school, they could still use school services for free.
Correct.
Thank you.
And they can be on sports teams and
Right.
do
Correct.
field
Music.
trips and all those things, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Bonnie, can I just recommend that the next time we meet, what's worked good for us in the past is that we start right in the backup section and
Yeah,
go right down through categories, and everybody do their homework between now and the next meeting. And that way we're not jumping all over the page and different subjects, and we can be more, in line with what we're trying to get done here. And it's easier to use the backup section in your book. And that's what we've done in the past. And it's worked well for us. Then as you come up to different categories, you address it at that time instead of one person having an idea, next person, now we're into something else. And that's just a suggestion I'd like to make so that when we come into our next meeting, we're prepared. And I don't know what you and John think. We're the only ones that have been through this.
we've been through it a few times. Yeah, we usually go through the backup session. That keeps you kind of organized. So you're talking about a certain topic and okay, then you decide what you think about that topic. Now on to another topic. That's how we've done it. We've never had the luxury or the leisure, which is, I think, been a frustration to us many a times, is to build a budget. To start with zero and build one, and to think through how many teachers you need and what is that going to cost you. And, that's how you build a budget generally. And we are the budget. We are the ones that present the budget. We are the ones that bring forward the budget. And we've never, ever had the luxury to build a budget. And someday, I hope I'm involved with this long enough to see us, and it would take an all-year process. I'd love to see us be able to build a budget, not just take a budget that has been built by administration, teachers, and school board members, and just take that to start with. But I understand I understand that's not very feasible, probably, especially when we've only got 5 meetings. I just wanted to throw that out there. When you go through the backup section, just like we always have, you assume, well, those are the topics and those are the things you need, rather than think outside the box and figure out for ourselves as the budget experts, and we are. That's what we've been appointed to be, the budget. They're the educators, and we care about education too, but our primary responsibility is the budget. And I just wanted to throw that out there. That's how we always do it, sufficient and everything, but we need to also think and not just assume that all these budget categories are exactly the ones we want or in the proportion that are proposed there. I just had my little say, my little speech. I'm not disagreeing with you, Mike. That's how we get through it. But
No, I agree with you. It's just, that gives us a starting point, and
Yeah.
usually as we're going down through it, that's how we get thinking outside the box.
yeah, Yeah.
You know, I'm all for that.
yeah,
But at least this covers what the administration has in the budget. And so we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here.
right.
Because that ain't what we're here to do.
No,
And that way, one guy isn't talking about sports and the other guy's talking about science, and we're not bouncing all over
right.
everywhere. That's why I suggested that.
Yeah, I agree. John, did you have any input from having been involved in this process a while?
No, I don't think so. The only thing I think I agree a little bit, all we're doing is taking last year's budget and then tweaking it for this year. You're right. You don't go back and look outside the box and come up with new ideas or different ideas.
Yeah, and that's what we end up doing. We just, and we get through the whole process. We're way down to the end. Brother, we saved $30,000, and that's what we've done. Year after year, we saved $13,000. We saved $30,000 out of 8 million. And it is a little frustrating to me. We never have that chance to really take a look, like if this was our business, how would we put it together? Where would our priorities be? It's a big business. It's an $8 million business. And so that's all I wanted to say. And so much of it is in, well, a lot of a budget is in operating expenses. The lights are going to be the lights and the heat's going to be the heat. And the only way we can make a difference is obviously in the salary category, and capital improvements we decide are necessary. And while we're voting to put furnaces and roofs and floors and things, we probably should be thinking about, well, are they going to be an integral? Did we just put a furnace in something that isn't going to be part of our program in 2 years? I think we've got to think about that. What are we going to look like? And if we're going to downsize or do things differently, well, maybe we didn't need to spend that money on fixing that furnace that is going to be in a building that we're not even going to use for much. You know what I'm saying?
Can we get this, this whole book that we got, can we get these line items and budget line items and all these different sections in an Excel file so they're easily sortable, so we can find out, like, I don't know how many different line items for postage I've seen in different places. Rather than having it all split up, I'd like to combine those numbers and see what is being asked for and posted.
And what program do you use for this, build this budget? You're muted.
I use the accounting software package we have, Tyler Technology, and I also use Excel.
Okay. So it can be downloaded to Excel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I can run-
they allocate an awful lot of things. You'll see postage everywhere, you see books everywhere, you see paper everywhere, you'll see this, that, and the other everywhere. And that they're trying to allocate it to the department that's using it. So you do have to hunt and hunt and hunt
Yeah.
for all the
And we-
postage
yeah.
stamps and so forth.
We have to report it to the state a certain way by either a
Yeah.
function but I can break it down by object, which is your supplies, your postage, your things like that. So I can run it different ways, but we are required to report it to the state a certain way.
Right, I just want to be
Their
able to,
reports.
I just want to be able to search it and,
Yeah.
you know, do my own in-depth review of the different numbers and what's where.
Yeah, I mean, this-
You got 90 line items of postage, you can bury a lot of money there.
Yeah, the state, this is every school, this is how they do these budgets. They all
Oh,
use-
sure.
They all use the
Yep.
exact same 1100, 410, it's crazy. Because that's how they do it, but I'm with you, Robert, I understand.
I have a question, I guess, that came up. How long have we been using the auditors, the same auditing company? How long have we been using them?
They've been here since I've been here.
That's a good question. You need to switch that up every so many
Well,
years.
it was recommended to me to switch them every 3 to 5 years.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
Yeah, we switched, the last school I was at, we switched every 3 years.
So is that decision made by the school board or is
That's-
the auditor chosen by, you know, I guess who is my question, yeah?
No, that would be administration. We're more of the policy end of it.
It wouldn't be the budget committee usually. But,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's administration's
It's the
decision.
shareholders. They always take selection of auditors to the shareholders. I don't know if we do that in the town or not. But it would be the school board before us, I think. So,
Oh, yeah, I would expect it would be the school board or the administration.
it'd
but-
never be the superintendent of the school or the employees of the school picking the auditors. It wouldn't be fair to them. So,
Well, let's find out who actually makes that decision and see what the plan is for, yeah. Not repeating the same people forever.
Anything else? Any other ideas or thoughts or input?
I will say, I don't think an $8 million budget is that hard to play around with all the details of it. So including all the salaries and everything. So. but
Yeah.
How long it would take me to build a spreadsheet from it? It's not days, anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Mike got kicked out for some reason.
Uh-oh. Oh dear. Did he have his iPad or computer?
I don't know. He just sent me a
plugged in?
text. He just sent me a text saying he got kicked out.
Oh no. Is he gonna
That's all
try
right.
to, is he gonna
All in
try to
favor
get
of
back?
Mike
We're
being-
about,
We're about
What's
done
that?
anyway, right?
yeah, we're about done.
I'm just gonna say, all in favor of Mike bringing refreshments to the next meeting.
That's the problem with Zoom meetings. There's no refreshments. Oh, don't get John going on the refreshments. Don't get him going on that topic. Don't. He added it up. He added up refreshments in the budget one year and it was a sizable amount of money, refreshments for this, that, and the other. It was thousands of dollars. He was the ringleader of too many refreshments are being served. So no refreshments for us, none.
Okay. all right.
So it looks like we're at a point where we want to all take a look at the budget and then come back next week and go through the backup kind of line item almost and have some ideas.
Yep.
and it looks like we've asked some pretty good questions on information that they're gonna get to us. That will go towards when we get to those sections, I would assume, on the budget, so. That's what I'm seeing and feeling from what everybody's gotten tonight. Is that where everybody else feels, or?
Yeah,
Agreed. So are we feeling like we're at a point where we do our next meeting next Tuesday and we know where we're going?
Are we
I
gonna
think-
meet, are we gonna meet between Christmas and New Year?
yeah, are we? We
I don't
could.
know, but I'm really not up for it, but it's up to everybody else.
All right.
I will do
the,
what Courtney
the
wants to do.
Joe, I think you said, you had company, your family is in town, and I think earlier on you didn't really.
Oh, yeah, I definitely do. But I mean, I thought at the beginning of this meeting, we said we were going to meet Tuesday, the 5th.
Yeah, Tuesday the
That's
5th.
great. Tuesday, I missed that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Tuesday the
Okay.
5th.
Yeah, and then
Starting Tuesday.
every Tuesday through February 2nd. All
Awesome.
at 6:30 at this point.
Okay, so 1/5 to February 2nd. Thank you.
Those meetings will be starting at 6, correct?
6:30. Or did we say 6 or 6:30?
We said 6, yeah.
We said 6. I said, well, I like 6:30 better, but I'll do it. John said the same thing. I like 6:30 better, but I'll do it.
Okay.
And I know Joe and Robert said they'll try to make all of them the best they can, but sometimes things come up.
Yeah, I mean, I should be able to, but you just never know. One of the board members will be there.
All right, great.
Great. Thanks.
And we do have to have a board representative there, Tucker. We learned that. We have to make sure either Joe or the alternate, which I think is Nat.
No, it's Jay Doogie.
Jay Doogie has to be there.
Awesome. Okay. All right, so I guess should we adjourn or?
Yes. And I don't think I've ever in my life heard anybody say no to that.
So I guess we should adjourn and plan on meeting Tuesday the 5th.
Yeah,
Everybody, I guess, do we have to make a motion or any of that stuff? Are we formal that way? Or are we?
we're probably supposed to. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, and Joe second. John, you in favor of that?
Yes, I'm in favor.
Yes. Tucker,
Yep.
Jerry,
Yep.
Robert,
Yep.
anybody else?
Joe, I'm
I'm in, Joe, and I'm in favor of it. Okay, we're adjourned.
All right, guys.
All right, see you
gave
soon.
We gave it 2.5 hours. We did wonderfully.
And Jerry, you're gonna send all that stuff out to us?
I
Minutes
just,
and.
you mean minutes or?
well,
I took-
you want
I
all the
wrote down
emails,
a
right?
lot of, I wrote down a lot of stuff, Jerry. Did you write down much?
I could, anything you got would be helpful.
All right,
I got the
right.
votes and some notes. If you-
I
It's
will-
recorded. It's recorded anyway.
it's,
Yeah.
it's recorded. And I'll write down what I wrote down for you, Jerry, and you can go from there.
All right.
You want
All
to
right.
emails and phone numbers?
Yeah. I
Merry
sent-
Christmas, everyone.
my phone number, please send back to me when you guys get a chance.
Awesome. Will do. Okay.
Thanks.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Okay,
Happy
Thank
holidays.
you.
You.
Yep,
Happy
guys.
holidays.
happy
Yes,
holidays.
happy holidays. Night.